It's 3 a.m. on the clock, and I'm on the lookout for something truly unique and out of the box. I'm not new to the world of exotic anime and manga, so things like Euphoria and other Guro works don't make the same impression on me anymore. I wanted something that could evoke real emotion, disgust, horror, shock, but did it so skillfully that I couldn't look away. And so I stumbled upon something utterly unimaginable. Imagine a work so dark and uncompromising that its existence on the internet seems unbelievable. Something that will never be screened in anime format because even the most rigid Japanese censors wouldn't allow such a thing on screens. And here comes before me a manga that was able to break through that invisible wall. A thriller where psychopathy and sadism are taken to the absolute limit. This work is not just shocking, it blurs the lines between fiction and what reasonable people shouldn't even think about. At first glance, this story starring a psychopath is a standard bloodbath that many people are used to ignoring. But trust me, even if you think you've seen it all, this manga will make you take a fresh look at the abyss of human cruelty. The scenes of violence are not just present here. They are so vivid and disgusting that the author had to literally cover parts of the drawings with black squares. And it's not just a cheap trick to censor the work a little. No, he did it just so you wouldn't vomit from all that you will see there. Because the scenes that will appear in this manga shocked even me. And because of that, I think that the author, without a doubt, managed to surprise me and other readers. But of course, before I start the video, I would prefer that the video is not banned or 18+, so I'll tell you right away, I am maximally condemning everything that will happen in this manga. I do not support it, and I will try not to show super violent footage. So I think I should get started. Now let's get to the point. I'm not going to go into the details of the plot of this manga. First of all, if I even try to do that, there's a good chance that YouTube's moderation will instantly send this video to oblivion. Secondly, to be honest, there's hardly any plot. Instead, there are endless torture scenes. The main character's thoughts about how he hates everyone and decides everything in his own way, as well as comic inserts, which seem to be the author's way of distracting the reader from the next crazy arc. These chapters are particularly unremarkable and don't carry any meaningful load. At first glance, this seems like typical high school bullying. Oh no, wait, that's where I'm wrong. Bullying is usually something like stealing things or locking them in a locker. And here, shoot a gun at the main character, beat him to a pulp, and that, as they say, is just the beginning. Then it gets even worse, because they kill his cat, and then they kill his family. And you know what the worst part is? They're not going to get away with it. At least not yet. At least it's good that the protagonist has a grandfather who, as it turns out, was a member of a secret, forbidden punitive unit of the Japanese army. And yes, what exactly he was taught there, it's better to leave behind the scenes, but let's just say that fans of content would have loved it, until the consequences were irreversible. And that's what the whole story builds on. Like I said, the point here is not the plot at all, but the incredible psychological tension and immorality that permeates every page. The author has killed at least 4 cats in 160 chapters, and this is one of the many times I genuinely hate him. But enough words, let's get to the point. And so, as I read this work, I increasingly had a question. How did such a thing even pass the censorship, and where is it even published? And you know, when I found out the answer, I was just shocked. It turns out that all this brutality is published in the same magazine as popular anime series, meaning anyone in Japan can safely buy it and read it, including kids. Yes, the same regular magazine that can be found on the shelves next to good-natured stories for youngsters. And come on, readers, do you have any idea what goes on in the mind of the author of this work? I mean, he paints these scenes every day. And if you consider how many hours a day mangaka work, you can say that he practically sits for 16 hours straight, drawing torture, torment, and horror, and then his editor checks it all out, and most surprisingly, approves it. What really makes this manga stand out is the visual style. Every frame is imbued with an atmosphere of hopelessness and gloom. The drawing is so detailed and elaborate that you can't help but start looking at the pages longer than usual. Even when the plot veers off into complete absurdity, the visuals pull it to a new level. By about the 100th chapter, I stopped following the text and just immersed myself in the images. And you know what? Even with that approach, I enjoyed it. The artwork in this manga is a 10 out of 10. It captures the mood so skillfully that it's hard to imagine anyone else being able to do it on the same level. Did you know that the dream of any mangaka is to have his work screened? That is to make an anime. because thanks to this, more people will know about his work and he can make more money. But the author of this manga does not seem to want this, because this manga cannot screen even the creators of Euphoria. But maybe I'm wrong, because I've seen different trailers for this manga on YouTube, though I'm sure it's a fake, but there's at least a small chance to see this work in color. Now I'd like to talk about the manga. Having finished reading it, I realized that in essence, it turned out to be quite flat and does not carry any real message. What can it teach its reader? The world is full of cruelty. Violence is bad. Revenge leads to self-destruction. All of this is obvious to everyone. However, the story does not back up its claims. All the villains and their cult get payback, and not from law enforcement, but from those who actually suffered from their actions. The romanticization of pleasure violence passes criticism. The author doesn't even try to look at it from a negative perspective. Although again, one should not expect any message from a manga about torture. The images of the characters are hyperbolized caricatures of real people, and there is no such thing in real life. However, even such moments are seemingly ignored by the author. The standard theme of revenge leading to more suffering sometimes shows another side. What Shun's life could have been like if he had chosen a different direction, full of color and joy. But the protagonist rejects this possibility, rejecting the hope of a different future. His life is ruined. He himself is ruined, and nothing can ever go back to the way it was. No friends, no happiness, no fulfilling life, just emptiness. Though perhaps not quite an emptiness, but more of a precursor. The manga is not finished yet, and the author has a chance to give the main character at least a drop of hope for the best. But my gut instinct tells me that the ending will be as bleak as anything we've seen before. Thus, you won't find any positive emotions, motivation, or morals in Crucifixion 6. However, if you don't care about those aspects, you will enjoy the visuals and get some impressive shots. That's about it for me. Then again, what are the different YouTubers saying at the end of the video?